Good afternoon, guys. Welcome to the Pilosopo podcast. My name is Jiggy Jr., and this show, at least dessert and coffee, is courtesy of our good friends from the Dessert Factory. Thank you so much for this smooth Italian cup of coffee, and I think Marvin has some cappuccino over there, and the dessert as well. Thank you so much. They actually have an El Curso branch that's already open to serve you. In fact, that's the main reason why we're here this afternoon. At least these three lovely and good-looking gentlemen are here. They're here for the El Curso event, which is happening already this Sunday, September 15. That's the Soulscape. This is an all-day yoga event happening from 7 a.m. until 7 p.m. And they are the main reason why we are doing this interview here today, of course. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for Marvin, Monica, and Mary Love, the three M's, together with Shandy. Shandy, right? Shandy. Shandy.
Hi everyone.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, guys.
Hello. Hi.
You guys have unique and individual journeys before you got into yoga. Take us through your individual journeys. Every single moment in your life that has led you and prepared you to this moment right here, right now, here in this little studio of the Pilosopo podcast. What led you to this moment? Starting with you, Marvin.
Okay, good. So how did I get here? Well, I was born and raised in Germany. Yeah. So and then after my after my school time, I worked a job as a office clerk, regular office work and whatnot. So, but at that point in time, I really hated my job. I don't know if you can relate.
Yeah. Every day, man.
Oh, okay. Don't let your boss know.
He's not watching.
Okay.
Or maybe he is. Maybe I'm so fired already.
Well, so it just so happened that I actually lost that job. And then I decided to further my schoolings to actually go on to university to study. So then I took up study courses, bachelor's and master's in development economics.
Okay.
And that actually led me to exchange programs with distinguished schools in India.
Okay.
In the capital, Delhi and Pune. So and that is also where then I started out, getting in contact with yoga, started to practice twice a day, then it became every day, and then I did teacher trainings in India exclusively, and then we met in the city of Mysore, actually over some pretty good, amazing dosa pizza by the lovely Pushpa Perumal. If you're ever in Mysore, if you're looking for a place to stay, look at Pushpa Perumal. Yes, lovely lady. I consider her as my
and their
Indian
pizza is
mother.
great too.
Awesome,
Not like Italian
amazing.
pizza.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Not like Italian pizza.
Okay.
However, so that's where we met, Monica and me, and from there our journey took us to teaching in India, Nigeria, Singapore, Thailand, now here in Cebu, in the Philippines, and then beginning of 2020 we're moving back to Europe because of our little one here who also has things to say. So that is my yoga.
How about you, Monica? How did
So-
you find yoga?
So I studied translation.
Okay.
So I'm an interpreter and translator.
Okay.
And I was living in Brussels. So I was working in an office,
Okay.
and I also hated my job. I loved
Okay.
it, but I
Okay.
was pretty stressed.
Okay.
And then one day
Your interpreting job.
Yeah, translating. I was project managing at that time.
What were you translating?
And, I speak Italian, French, and English.
Okay.
So those are the three
Okay.
languages.
That you
And,
that you translate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was pretty stressed, and I decided to go to India just
Okay.
to learn a little.
So
bit
it
of
wasn't like
Russian.
a school program. You just wanted to go to
No,
India.
no, I just wanted to go.
Okay.
I was old enough to
Okay,
finish
okay.
school.
Okay.
Thanks God.
Okay.
And so I went to India to learn martial arts because I loved martial arts.
Okay.
And,
Okay.
And every morning we had to do yoga to prepare for martial arts. So at some point I dropped the martial art. I mean, I kept doing it, but I asked.
Which
can
particular martial art, if you don't mind?
Kalari Payat is a little bit like here you have arnis, with the
Stick,
sticks,
yeah.
and it's very similar. Actually, When I was in Manila, I was teaching in Manila, and I saw a guy doing it, and I even asked him, "Are you doing that Indian martial art?" And he's like, "No, no, no, this is Filipino."
Okay.
Don't,
So from martial arts, karate, payat.
Kalari Payat.
How
Yeah.
did you find you eventually find yoga in
So
India?
in the morning we were practicing yoga to prepare.
Okay.
And,
So it was
then
part of the discipline.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
So I went home and I kept doing yoga by myself because I was feeling better. Like when I go to work, I don't have back pain. I feel better. I don't hate my boss so much. So I'm like, okay, something is good. And then I looked for yoga classes because I couldn't just after a month like doing it by myself. And I started doing this hot yoga. And then after a couple of months, my teacher is like, I think you should do teacher training and come and teach here. And then I did the teacher training in the States, Bikram yoga, and then thanks to that I started traveling. And so I ended up in Paris, and then in Manila, and then in Manila I met Mary, and then I moved to Singapore. I went to India, we met there, and then the rest is
The rest is history.
It's history, yes.
Okay, how about you, Marilab? Take us to your journey from your early days and to today, and how you became a yogi. Yeah.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mary.
Okay.
My studio is in IT Park. It's
Okay.
called Love Yoga World. Way back, I started doing yoga in 2010. That's when I found myself. Sorry.
So why did you find the need to
I-
find yourself?
I was so stressed. I was into apparel business.
Okay.
Remember, I had like, perhaps, I guess, I had 10 or 12 stores.
Okay.
Yeah, I manage it on my own, but I have people with me.
Okay.
Yeah, I did all the buying, the sourcing out in abroad, in China, in Bangkok, in Hong Kong. And after doing it for like, I guess, 10 years, I wasn't happy. I had so much, I was making so much money.
Okay.
Yeah, and then, but I found myself, I wasn't happy inside.
Okay.
I just keep on working and working and working.
Mm-hmm.
It was like a dog eat dog every day. Yeah, in the beginning, I was like, I like it, I love it, because I'm the type of person who likes to work
Okay.
until morning. I don't care if I sleep or not.
Okay.
Yeah. And then one day I was just like, because I wasn't listening to my body, and I was neglecting my actually the calling of my body to like slow down. I said to myself, I'm so young yet, I shouldn't slow down. And then just one day, I was really looking for something to really like for my soul, because how come I wasn't happy, and I was like, I have this already, and then I was in the gym. I always go to the gym because going back in my college days, I joined Miss Teen Cebu.
Beauty
And
contest.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I was into that for a while.
Okay.
Yeah. Miss Annie Rose. I
Okay.
was Miss Annie Rose. I was
Okay.
Miss Hooray. So anyway, so I always like love to stay fit.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was go to the gym after school, and then one day in the gym I saw people lying down. I asked my friend what they're doing.
I like that exercise. Lying
Yeah,
down.
Yes, correct. Yeah, I think that's the kind of exercise that I needed for my body.
Just lying down.
So yeah, and then she said they're doing shavasana. Like, what is that? So I got curious. The next day I enrolled myself in.
Okay.
So and then so we were doing yoga. That was my first time. I have a very good friend who is into yoga.
Okay.
She encouraged me before to do yoga, but then I was like, when you're young, it's like, what is that? I would rather do
The
treadmill than
regular
doing
exercise,
this.
yeah.
Yes, correct. And then so the next day, and then with my monkey mind,
Your monkey mind.
my monkey
Okay.
mind, who is jumping all the time.
Okay.
Yeah, cannot stay focused, cannot stay still. When the teacher said like, okay, move your right to the right, and I was doing left
Okay.
for 4 times, and she's probably annoyed. It was like he was a he, and he's like say he kicked my foot. I was like, oh my god, is this yoga? So the next day I didn't go back anymore. I asked my friend if there is a yoga studio in Cebu, and she
okay.
said, yeah, there is. Apparently it was in Salinas Drive.
Okay.
It was called Yoga Nightly. So I enrolled myself in. That was the start. I would do yoga like 3 times a week. I was doing Ashtanga. Yeah.
So did that help you in your anxiety, in your feeling pressured all the time with work?
Yes, of course. Yeah. Like now, then I had this my first panic attack. It happened in Davao when I
Okay.
was doing my teacher training there. I
Okay.
didn't know what that was. I
Okay.
didn't know what is this? I was like feel like palpitating, hyperventilating. So they brought me to the doctor.
Okay.
I mean, not doctor, to the hospital for emergency.
Okay.
Then, oh, this is what happened. Then the doctor was like, oh, she's just like, she said like, oh, she's having a panic attack. And then the doctor asked me, because I didn't have a family there. And the doctor says, oh, we'll just give her Valium. So they injected me with Valium.
Okay.
And then my husband was like, oh, was so scared and so worried about me. He wanted to fly that day to Davao. I said, don't worry, I'm okay now. And it probably was, I didn't really know. So when I got back to Cebu, I wanted to see my doctor. And then they ran a test and everything was okay. From then on, that anxiety of me, it didn't left me. It became my boyfriend.
Your anxiety became,
It became
your
my
boyfriend.
lover. Yeah. When I wake up in
Sounds
the morning.
like a typical boyfriend, right? Causing you anxiety all the time.
She's a girlfriend.
Yeah, but I managed to really detach from him.
Okay.
From that.
From anxiety.
From my anxiety
Okay.
boyfriend. Yeah. Yeah, divorced. Yeah, through yoga.
Okay.
Yeah. I meditate. Meditation helped me a lot. The breathing practice, pranayam, and the poses. Actually, if you, not all poses, because there are poses that triggers your anxiety.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So I now practice. I do my own yoga. I have my own practice. I have my own style of yoga that really very therapeutic and gives control of my mind. Yeah.
What she
Yeah.
experienced, Marvin and Monica. She was going through some turbulence in her life, right? Because of her business. She ran like, I don't know, 10, 12 stores at a time, and she was doing it on her own, although she had help and all that stuff. And then she found yoga, and it totally and completely changed the way she looked at the world. This is not a unique story. A lot of people are going through a lot of turbulence in their lives, a lot of busyness, a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, a lot of things going on happening at the same time. How does yoga, the practice of yoga, help in cases like these, like of Mary Loves?
I mean, when we do the yoga asana, so like just a physical practice, like not going into the breathing or the meditation, which
Okay.
are deeper practices. Every time we put ourselves under stress. So let's say I'm doing a difficult pose, the same emotions, the same feelings happen in that moment. Like especially when you do practices like the one that she was doing, Tanga, or Pranavasha that we will also have at the festival. You do the same postures every day. So there will be some postures that you don't like at all, or that trigger your like emotions. So like on the mat, you learn how to deal with these emotions through your breath. You start feeling like, okay, I'm feeling a little bit more relaxed because I know that I can deal with this. I know that this is gonna happen and I know how to deal with it. So the next day I'm in a stressful situation, like you were saying, you're in a car and you know how to deal with that situation that is
Okay.
stressful for you. So this happens in many things. So like you're learning. Yoga mat is just the learning
So you
point.
mentioned that there is like a pose that is kind of stressful, and you sort of
course.
mimic
Yes.
the, stressors in everyday life.
Yes.
And because you practiced it in a controlled setting in a yoga mat,
Yeah. It's like a training.
it's a good training ground.
Yeah.
So when you encounter similar pressures, similar anxiety, you're able to deal with it. Is that what you're
Yeah,
trying to say?
Yeah, and not only for anxiety. Like sometimes we are not good. We procrastinate.
Yeah.
Or so that happens also in yoga. So like there are some postures you like more. You spend more time. There are postures like, and you learn how to. Okay, this is good. Like, but too much of this is also not good. Too much of cake is also not good. Like, this is okay.
This is a good
So
cake.
yes. But if you
From Dessert
eat the
Factory.
entire one, like, that's
No,
not-
no. I'm just gonna eat a little bit. Yeah.
Of course, so like
yeah.
you learn how to balance.
Yeah, okay.
Like you don't need to be extreme because that's also not good.
Yeah.
Mm.
So too good is not good.
Yeah.
So like you learn what it is enough and what is, and you deal a better life with that.
Balance.
So a balance, yeah.
Everything in moderation.
In moderation.
Yeah.
Yes.
You were about to say
Yes.
something, Marvin.
Especially what you were mentioning earlier about the stress that we have in our everyday life. Yes, I mean, like nowadays life is becoming so very fast paced. Yes, I mean, like we let's just take the phones for example. We cannot really we should not really do with them too much, but we can also not really do without them if we're honest
Can't
about
live
it,
without
right?
them. Can't kill them.
Exactly. But then on the other side, you know, I mean, like nowadays we've observed people even within the when they're in the yoga class that they cannot be without their phone. Now people are actually having anxieties when they are not when they do not have
Exactly.
their phone with
Exactly.
them.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So
The
espe-
opposite.
Exactly,
is
exactly,
happening.
completely the opposite of what you want to achieve with yoga. So I believe that it is very much important to kind of like take that first step to just see, hey, I am actually able to calm down. I mean, we were talking earlier, right? You said, okay, my mind is so fast I cannot really do anything. Nah. So we've actually heard that from or observed that with a lot of practitioners that they approach it with, no, it's not for me. You know, I'm too hyper. I'm so this. I'm so that. But then, after you've practiced for a certain amount of time, you will see, you will observe, you will feel certain changes happening within you. And initially you think, ah, okay, good, I practiced this, okay, I stretched it a little bit, you feel better physically. But it is more than that. Yeah, so let's just observe certain emotional states. Yeah, so you are in your car, you're here on this beautiful Cebu traffic.
Beautiful Cebu
starting,
traffic. That's
you
not
know-
how. That's not how I would describe it. But yes, beautiful Cebu traffic.
Let's try to see the beauty in everything.
Okay. The beautiful Cebu traffic. I'm trying to imagine. Go ahead, Marvin.
Okay.
Continue. The
So
beautiful Cebu
you
traffic.
see, okay, good. You're getting agitated. You feel your breath is becoming more faster. You're breathing a little bit more deeper. Your heart rate is going up. You're thinking, oh my God, this guy, why wasn't he in a move? So you're starting to get agitated, right? So this is your mind giving certain signals to your body. Your mind tells your body, okay, good, this is not happening, I need to be there. So these are the physical reactions happening within your body, right? So, but this is not only a one-way street. So in yoga, we can apply certain breathing techniques to actually slow the breath down, hence the heart rate will slow down, hence your mind will become calmer also. Yes?
So in that situation, how do you apply the skills that you've learned in yoga? Like in a car setting, for example, like you mentioned, stuck in traffic. You know, you're anxious. People are waiting for you, and this guy's not moving, and all that
Yes.
stuff. And you're already late. So how do you apply that?
Well, first of all, do not close your eyes. Keep your eyes on the traffic.
Traffic will not disappear if you close your eyes, right?
Exactly. But just like what you said earlier, you know, just take that deep breath in and a slow breath out. And why do we do that? Because it has a calming effect. And for that, we do not need to take a yoga class. It's natural. Yes. So yoga actually helps us to become in contact or to be aware more of the things that are natural to us anyway.
Okay.
So the next time you're stuck in traffic, just observe the breath, take a couple deep breaths in, slow breath out, and just see what happens. Just see what happens.
Aside from Mary Love's story of being changed by yoga, do you have any stories that you can share? Maybe people that you can share their names or not that have been changed and have lived better lives because of yoga. Maybe you can give us an example, our viewers.
Well, there's this one guy called Marvin.
Okay. Yeah, tell us about that. Tell us about Marvin. I'm interested. It's a big celebrity, I heard.
I'm not so sure about that.
Okay.
So, I mean, I was always like a hardhead.
Okay.
You know, and very, very stubborn. I always knew where I wanted to go. So like for me personally, I would say that yoga helped me to become aware of my BS. You know, just like
Yeah.
the crap that we all deal with. You
So
know?
what was your BS that you were aware of?
Let's just say that. Yeah. There are so many.
BS number one, BS number two.
No, let's just say that what yoga did for me was that in certain situations before yoga, where I probably would get more agitated or angry.
Okay.
You know, that yoga really helped me to, at that point in time, at that moment, be aware and just to really observe the emotions that are coming up, the thoughts that are coming up, and just really try to observe them, be like, hey, okay, good, like, why is this happening now 1st? And that already helps you to not go deeper into these emotional states.
To that rabbit hole, right?
To the rabbit hole, exactly. So, and the more you become aware of these things while they are appearing, the more you can do about it.
But the problem with anger sometimes it just comes out of nowhere. You know, they're like trigger points,
Yes,
like trigger words or trigger events
Yes,
that
definitely.
that you're exposed to, and
Definitely.
before you could apply all these things that you've learned about how to control your emotions and maybe like being aware of the moment, it just comes out of nowhere and then it hits you, bam, and then you explode, and then there's no stopping that train. You know,
Well, I mean-
you've been to those moments, right?
definitely. But nobody said also that it's easy,
Yeah. Okay.
right? So all of these things that we're talking about, like working with anxiety, and it's also not like very easy. It takes a certain amount of effort and discipline, and I also do believe that is maybe one of the misconceptions about yoga, that it's all nice and we're opening up. We are doing that, but at the same time, we can not only do it on the mat. Yeah, so the actual practice, or the discipline, where we are able to take what we're observing, what we're feeling, what we're learning on the mat while we're practicing the physical yoga, is to take these experiences and trying to apply them
In
off
real life.
the mat,
Okay.
in real life. And that is the tricky part, because when we're going to a yoga class, we have our time. Okay, we're setting up the class, this is our time, right? But then off the mat, we have our family, we have our friends, we have the boss who's about to fire you, So, and that's then where it becomes really tricky, hard, and disciplined, or where we need to apply a certain amount of discipline to then really be focused, concentrated, present, aware. And these are the things that are not so easy.
I think something like that takes a lot of time, right?
Discipline, and
No, just the awareness of things, and because you can't be all aware all the time, 24/7.
And you don't need to. You don't need to. I mean, ideally you would want to, but it is tough for us as householders or people who are in society,
Or parents, for example, if you're a dad.
especially-
Yeah.
especially if you're a parent,
Uh-huh.
especially if you are a parent. But like I said, it's I believe it is about every time trying a little bit more. Yeah. So let's say initially 5 times, or like 1 time out of 10 you're becoming aware. That's
good enough.
That's already good.
Good start, yeah.
Okay, so then the next time you're gonna be aware 2 times, 3 times, 10, and so on and so forth. So the idea is to be able to expand the time that we are actually aware. Yeah, to just be able, and that comes then with the discipline.
And then I think the more you do it, the more you see, oh, this stuff works. So like then you're more motivated, because you experience that you cannot change the stuff outside, but you can change the way you behave. It takes longer because it's easy to just sit down and do the things the same way. But when you start seeing that certain situations don't happen to you anymore, it's not that they don't happen to you, but you
still
learn,
do.
They still do, but you're not touched by them. So then you're like, okay, so maybe I can apply this in something else. It's not about being perfect and, okay, I have to do my practice every day at this time and this and that. It's just about be aware of and act instead of reacting to situations. So I get angry. Okay, next time, it's like falling from a pose. Yeah, I fall out from a pose. Okay, why did I fall out? So at some point, you're aware of that little space in between what's happening and your reaction. And when you catch yourself in that moment, then you're ready to act instead. And when you start acting, the change is very fast.
Yeah, speaking of speed, the world spins in such a breakneck speed, right? And you really can't control it. And the illusion that we are in control is I think it is what it is, an illusion, right?
It is an illusion.
But what we can do is to change the way we react to that speed, right? Does yoga make an individual more productive in case he's doing something else aside from yoga? Of course, obviously, both of you and also you, Mary Love, you guys are full-time yoga instructors, right? Let's say, for example, I'm a businessman and I have like 10 businesses to attend to. Like Mary Love once was a businesswoman, and after yoga, does that make me sort of like a softer and slower and maybe perhaps less of a businessman and more of a woke person, and you become perhaps less productive, or does it improve on your production as a businesswoman?
Actually, yoga, it releases emotions, right? Yeah. So when you are angry, then you are less productive.
Okay.
Right? And but when you are in the moment, like really taking care of what your mind is, or you can control your mind, of instead of getting angry because you become less productive, you become telling yourself that you have to stay calm, and then at that moment really thinking like should you get angry or relax.
So did that make you because obviously you decided to just drop it all, right?
Yes,
and
yes,
focus
yes.
on yoga.
Yes,
But
yes.
my question to Marvin and to Monica and also to you is, does yoga make you a more productive individual in terms of the other things
Yeah.
that you're doing
Yes,
outside
yes,
of yoga?
Of course, definitely, because it teaches you to choose the more important things to do and to detach or let go of those things that you really don't need to do.
Okay.
Yeah. Like we have so many things, because we're ambitious, right?
Uh-huh.
We want to do so many things, and we can do a lot of things actually. And our conscious mind is just so small compared
Okay.
to our unconscious mind.
Okay, so-
And if you take control of your mind, of what you are going to do, then you can be very productive.
Mm-hmm.
Like for example, like I have to do so many things today, but if you really do a rundown, there are only like a few things that are very important to do. So then you know how to like
Prioritize?
no, prioritize or equalize,
Okay.
or let go of those things that you
Aren't
don't
that
need
important.
to, are not important. Yeah. Yeah.
Yoga is obviously not just poses and positions and
Yeah.
all that stuff. There's a lot of the word that comes to mind is there's a lot of theory involved. There's a lot of teaching that you need to impart to the student before you actually do the poses and all that stuff. What's the percentage like? Like, is there like especially during the event this Sunday, Soulscape
Yeah.
at Il Corso, right?
Yeah.
Will you be doing a lot of teaching as well? Aside teaching, meaning to say, are you gonna do a lot of talking aside from the yoga poses? And without revealing everything, maybe you can tell us what sort of things are you gonna teach us there during the Soulscape? I'm definitely coming. I am so there.
He will be
Yeah.
there physically.
Yeah, physically and mentally.
And emotionally.
So if you're looking at the classes that will be there, I think it's actually gonna be like a good little variety. Or I think people who are gonna come there, they're gonna experience like a good variety of what yoga has in store for them. Yeah, so there will be some breath work. There will be some short meditation practices. We will talk a little bit about the some of the mythological stories behind the certain asanas. Yes, so behind most of the asanas that we practice, there are mythological stories, and within these stories we have certain ethical or moral values embedded. Yeah, so if we know them, for example, while we're practicing the physical asanas, we can reflect a little bit on, okay, good, what is the story supposed to tell me and what can I learn from it and maybe apply off the mat. We're gonna have some partner yoga sessions which will involve, let's say, all of the emotional states that you would go through in a regular relationship. Yeah, so it can be, you can enjoy it, but you also sometimes it's also tough to, you know, be in certain situations together. Sometimes you need to lean on somebody, sometimes you need to be able to surrender to somebody. Yes. Then there will be more gentle asana practices. Then there will be some more strength and flexibility based practices, some arm balances, inversions. So I think if you come out on Sunday, it will be give you like a very good idea of what yoga can give you. And I'm also very certain that certain people, they might be drawn more to the strength and flexibility and arm balancing part. Some other people, they might be more drawn to the gentle practices, maybe to the Ayurveda talk. So if we look at it, it always depends on your individual mindset. Yes. So let's say for you, you say, my mind is so fast. For you, I would not necessarily recommend a gentle practice. For you, I would recommend more like a power flow or like a Ashtanga practice, because your mind is fast.
Okay.
Yeah. So then for somebody else who might deal with, you know, anxiety or certain emotional things, for them it would be more better to attend some of the gentle flow or the pranayama meditation, just to calm down and and to detach from their emotional states. So if we're looking at it, yoga is it always depends on your personal mindset. You cannot say, okay, good, for this, that any yoga practice is for everybody. Yoga is for everybody, but for everybody there is a certain yoga.
And it changes through the years. Like for me, when I started, I was more physical.
Yeah, it changes.
And little by little, I mean, through pregnancy, I practiced until the last day when she was
Literally.
born. Yeah, I went to his class, and then
Okay.
and then it changed. So like something that I never thought I would be like so chilled and calm and
Okay.
do more meditation.
Okay.
That's what happened. So
Okay.
and actually that's because yoga is supportive until like you can do it until you're old age. So
Okay.
it's something that changes because you change.
So yoga is something that you can do until old age.
Yes.
This is something that's sustainable, because I see a lot of yoga on Instagram, and these poses are impossible. I can't even do it. I consider myself limber.
Those are fancy poses. That
Fancy
you don't
poses.
Have to do. Yeah.
So you see all those very high degrees of difficulty in yoga, right? It's almost acrobatic. I was asking Mary Love this question a few months ago. Maybe I should ask you this: Is there such a point in which you become like a good a good yogi? I mean, like, is there like levels in which you attain certain skill sets, certain kinds of yoga? Who's the first, for example, like a question like this: who's the best yoga person in the world? Is there such a thing? And how do you measure your yoga skill set? Is there like the best yoga instructors in the world
Your
kind of
life
thing?
gets better.
Yeah.
Then you know.
Yeah, okay.
Keep working.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what it
Yes,
says.
Yeah.
yes, I would agree.
Yeah.
And there's
your
actually
life gets better. Correct.
Yeah.
there's actually one famous quote by T. Krishnamacharya, who is considered as the father of modern yoga.
Okay.
So he said that the moment when I call myself a yogi, I am not a yogi.
Okay.
So meaning that even though if you're able to do all the postures and all the pranayamas and all the meditations, we should not identify with that so much. Yeah, so it has something to do with letting go of the ego. So when we're looking at the things that we see on the
You know, when you said ego, it just reminded me. Sorry, this is a trigger voice. Eckhart Tolle sounds like that. When he said ego, that's how he sounded
the power
like.
of now. The power of now.
The
Very
Power
good,
of Now,
very
right?
good book. Yes. Yes.
That sounded like Tolle. Eckhart Tolle, yeah. Anyway,
Yes.
please continue. Sorry, I
Yes.
got distracted.
Yes.
See, that's what I mean. Go ahead.
The monkey mind.
The monkey mind, yeah.
The monkey mind.
Yeah.
Yes. So coming back to your question, if we look at all the things on social media, again, I believe we need to look at these things within the context of today.
Okay.
Yes, I mean nowadays we are very visual beings. Yes, so most of the time you see, you know, like a sexy young person doing like a fancy posture, and then they quote Buddha or whatnot. Yes, I mean, first of all, why do they put this picture up there? It is to catch your attention. Does the Buddha quote with them half naked doing a posture necessarily go together with that picture? No, it does not. At least in my opinion. I'm only speaking from my point of view now. I'm pretty sure that the people who are doing that, they have completely different ideas or views about these things. However, the way that yoga is being depicted on social media, in my opinion, causes a lot of confusion to people who actually don't or who haven't practiced yoga. Yes, because if you see like a skinny, sexy person, you know, half naked doing a fancy posture, you would just think that's not for me, you know. So, I think us as you know, quote unquote yogis, we also have a certain responsibility when we put yoga out there like that, or if we present yoga like that, because it is not like that, you know. Like if like for us, we've been teaching in so many different countries all over the world, and trust me, the average practitioner does not look like what you see on Instagram. The average practitioner is the regular Joe, you know, the regular Mary. It's a regular person, back pain, anxiety, this, that. So
You've been teaching yoga all over the world. You mentioned Nigeria, Bangkok, and you're off to
Singapore,
Europe
yes.
next year and all that stuff. What to you is your most unforgettable experience or experiences all around the world teaching yoga?
Oh my God, that's a lot of something that, I mean, I think every place had something. Like being in Asia for so long.
Okay.
Actually, being in Asia in so many different countries, like made me see like how different minds work. Like coming from Singapore, where it's like so hectic. Like it's quiet outside. Like it's not, the traffic is not like here, or but like everybody's so focused on work. And then being in Nigeria, where it's completely different. Like you see like a different kind of mentality. Like in Asia is much more quieter, and in Nigeria is very like energetic in another way. So like you see how yoga works on different kinds of minds. So like on at different levels. So like as he was saying, for you, like maybe a faster practice will work. So like, it makes you see that actually we are all the same.
Okay.
Like we might have like different. I see like in between me and Marvin, like I'm Italian and he's German. So like we're very different on the, I mean on the many levels. But still is something that connects everybody because we all breathe. Like
You know,
that's one language.
Speaking of you and Marvin, having relationships, having being a father and a mother to Shandy here, having a relationship in this new age, in this new world, 2019, is kind of a big challenge, right? How has I don't know if this is a yoga question, but how difficult is it to be a parent to a daughter, a lovely daughter like Shandy, and how has yoga helped you in becoming a better person to her, and you a better person to him?
I believe that's a very, very good and valid question, actually. Because like now being a parent, it's really like practicing yoga off the mat. Yes, because you need to be present and aware 24/7. If you don't look for 1 second, she might fall from the bed or
Okay.
something like that.
Okay.
But no, but I mean, yoga also has something to do with being understanding, being compassionate, and especially when you're having a kid and you still need to function as a provider, as a father, as a mother. We all still have these different roles to play within society, within the family. So it actually lifts up your own yoga practice really from the physical to what yoga is really about. Yes, I mean, just finding the mutual understanding, being compassionate towards each other, even at sometimes when things are not going your way, you still need to push through somehow. Yeah, so if we just put that into the context of asana, you want to do a certain posture but it's just not happening, so still you need to accept your limitations. You need to accept that for now it's not happening. So it is the same when we are having some arguments, which we do have, because we're not, yes, we are yoga teachers, but as we talked earlier, we are humans.
Okay.
We are humans,
Yeah.
with all of our ups and downs, faults and blessings. So yoga helped us to be more mindful of these things, especially when things are not going well. It helps us really to, okay, good, let's take a step back. Let's look at the situation. Is it us that are just arguing, or is it actually the situation that we are in which makes us argue? So I believe that it helped us as parents and as a couple tremendously to be able to apply what we have learned on the mat, off the mat. The awareness, the becoming aware of certain emotions while they're happening. So, but then yet again, it's a challenge.
She is Italian. You're German.
Yes.
You were completely and totally different people before you guys met each other. Would you have been? Had you met Monica here before you did yoga? And you, Monica, if it was before you did yoga, I know you guys met because of yoga. Let's just live in a parallel universe, and then you meet each other, and you didn't know yoga yet. Would you have been good for each other?
Well, let me answer, and then you can continue. Well, the funny thing is actually that before we met, we both had relationships and whatnot. So we actually both had the idea. Right now, no relationship, no,
Okay.
this kind of sense. So, but then we met, and it happened.
Okay.
It was love at the first bite of a dosa pizza, So
It's a damn pizza.
Damn pizza.
It's a fault of the pizza.
Oh my god, that's a
Imagine a world without yoga, and you run into this guy eating
all the tattoos.
eating all the tattoos
Oh my
and
God.
eating pizza.
I go home and my mother kicks me out.
Your mother will not let him see you or him again.
Yeah, exactly. I think I would be a little bit more like I'm not sure I think yoga made me like open up a little bit more in it's not always what it looks like.
Okay.
So like going a little bit past I know like this kind of person looks like this, talks like this, is gonna be like this.
Okay.
Is gonna act like this.
So you were making a
So,
judgment already. You would have
Yes.
made a judgment if
Yeah.
you did not do the practice, right?
in a way, yes, and also I think what yoga taught me. I mean, as a woman, like to respect myself better. Like not that I wasn't doing it before, but to feel like by myself, like to feel happy by myself, And
To be happy with yourself.
To be happy with myself, and
Okay.
also to feel happy when I'm by myself.
Okay.
Like even not in a relationship.
Okay.
So I think that's what also made us meet in a certain way.
What is it about yoga that made you happy with being alone? What is it about yoga that made you be comfortable with your thoughts? Because your thoughts can be the devil, right?
Yeah.
You know,
Yes,
especially
yes.
the dark side of your thoughts.
Yeah.
What was it about yoga that made you sort of tame the tiger in your brain?
Like I started feeling better about what I'm doing because I do it consciously. So like I'm not doing something because I don't know, my boyfriend wants me to do it. I know that he's happy if I do it, so I will do that. I don't know, like talking in a certain way or
Okay.
this and that. And I started doing things because I decide I'm responsible for what I do.
And then you do it for you.
And I do it for myself. Or even now, like I have to do things for her. I
Okay.
have to do things for my husband, but
Okay.
I consciously decide to do it. So
Okay.
I'm not a victim anymore. Like sometimes it's easy to become a victim of yourself.
Victimization, right?
Yes,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
even in a relationship that doesn't work out, maybe the guy is not a good guy, but in the end, we made the choice to be with them.
Uh-huh.
So we are also responsible, and it's hard to see it because in our societies is there is a good side and a bad side, but there is both in both because it means it means that
It's very
you-
nuanced, in other
yeah.
words. So yoga has
Yeah.
helped you sort of bridge that gap in your thoughts, right?
Yeah, and also to see like there are some red flags sometimes that I wasn't aware of.
Like for example, which
Like
one?
for example, like in a relationship, like you start seeing certain things, they make you feel in a certain way.
Okay.
You start seeing that the other person is acting in a certain way, and
Okay.
you know that maybe that's not what you're looking for.
Okay.
And you start seeing it, but like you don't do anything. And then you continue, you keep going in your relationship, and then something happens, and then the relationship doesn't work out. So when you start seeing those signs, is you're able to feel them. Or when you meet somebody, like when I met him, like I could feel him as in a different way. I could feel myself, what I was feeling in a different way. Like I was more conscious about my feelings, and I wasn't a slave of my emotions. Like because it's easy to feel high, like when you meet somebody, oh, this nice guy, and I feel so. But there are moments where you really feel low,
Low
and
as well,
we
yeah.
went through a lot of that. Like I mean, when you change countries, when you have a daughter, and in those moments, you really see when you made a decision together to do things. So like as a yoga couple, especially, well, like we talk about stuff, what's going on, and for me, I experience no fear in say what I'm experiencing because I'm not a victim anymore. Like before, I would not share so much because I feel I'm wrong, or that's how society wants me to be as a woman. And so I think that was a big change for me in learning yoga.
You know, we have a lot of viewers now who are still not into yoga or are thinking about going into yoga and are still kind of on the fence. They can't make up their minds. And you guys are only here maybe like once in a lifetime. I hope you can come back though. I'm sure Mary Love and Il Corso will invite you back. I am sure.
Yeah,
Based just solely based on this conversation, what do you have to tell them to those people who live busy lives, who live with a lot of stress, who live with a lot of anxiety, who are always pressured, whose brains they can't seem to tame? What do you have to tell them in terms of the event this September 15, this Sunday at Il Corso Philinvest, the Soulscape event? What is it that you need to tell them so that they can perhaps live better lives?
Okay, the very, very first thing that you need to do Saturday night before you go to sleep,
Okay.
set your alarm.
Okay. First thing.
Set your alarm.
Okay.
Then don't hit snooze
Okay.
Sunday morning.
Okay.
call a Grab, take a bus, take a moto, whatever you need to do, and just come.
Okay.
I think the most important thing when we want to start anything
Okay.
is to take that first step. It is, in my experience, the very first step is the most important step that you can ever do. How far you get, that's a different story. But you will never know how far you will actually get if you have not taken that first step. So definitely come by on Sunday. There are so many different classes. Take a couple of classes, see what's going on, and most importantly also have an open mind. Like yoga is not something. So let's say, for example, you have a headache. You take a aspirin. It will not be, the effects will not be as fast. Yoga is something that takes time because it works on a mentally, at least it works on a very, very subtle level. Yeah, so like the flexibility, the strength, like strengthening the muscles of the back to get rid of back pain. These are things that we consider more or less as byproducts, yes, because they happen naturally. But then over time you will actually you will observe that, like how Monica explained it earlier, you will encounter the same situation, but how you are responding in that situation will be different, and that takes time. That will take some time in order to change the patterns and habits of the mind, right? So, I mean, the mind works just like our phones. We have n numbers of apps on our phones. Yes, the one is the working app, the this app, the I gonna go to the dessert factory before work and have a coffee app. So we actually run on habits.
Yeah.
Most of the things we think we might have freedom of choice, but we're running on habits. So, and it takes time to change certain habits. Also, how you react in a certain situation, it will take some time.
One way would be, like, for me, the best things that happened to me were when I didn't want to go somewhere and I went there, like when I met him.
Okay.
Or even to go to India the first time.
Okay.
I was like, I'm not sure. And then something inside me, I was like, okay, let's just do it. I don't think about it. And the best
just
happened.
make that first step.
Yes. And that's actually because I was breaking the habit. So when you start breaking the habit, then you will never stop. So it will be something that you start doing it, and then there is no more habits created because you cut the chain.
Okay.
So,
one of the things that you guys bring to the table is that the thing that's unique about you guys is you're a couple, right? And you mentioned couple yoga. Did you say that?
Partner yoga.
Partner yoga. What is that, and what can partners or couples learn from partner yoga? And is it like a thing that you do together as a couple?
yeah, so
Yeah,
like
okay.
we're gonna go through postures together.
Okay.
So you learn like how to work together.
Okay.
So as a couple, like each of us has strengths and weaknesses, and usually we get a little bit like, he's always doing things like this. I want to do them like this, especially with a child. And then you start seeing like, okay, how can we work together?
Okay.
How can we make it more how can we work in harmony together?
So you're gonna sort of like use each other in a physical way to perform
we are
yoga
practicing
poses, yeah.
postures together.
So
yeah.
is this like a separate room from the other yogas?
You have 2 rooms.
2 rooms, okay. So the partner yoga is where do you like sign up for partner yoga, or how does it work?
No, you can't. You just no.
You have to have a partner to do partner yoga, right?
And you doesn't have to.
But you can't go in partner yoga and try to meet somebody
No,
to partner with.
no,
Is
you
it-
can't.
Yeah, you
it's
can't.
possible.
Okay,
Yes,
it's also
yeah,
possible. Is it-
You'll meet new friends.
Yeah, and the rest is history, right? and we have a similar story with Monica and Marvin. Obviously, there's so much to learn about yoga, and I'm sure the tradition, the heritage, the yoga is so rich. There's so many things you can learn, and there's always something for everyone, right? And you're gonna try to bring some diversity into this yoga scene here in Cebu, because yoga is a growing discipline. How do you say that? Discipline. And I'm sure you guys, because you've been around the world, you will totally bring a new and a different perspective of what yoga is in Cebu, right? Would you agree,
Yes,
Mary
yes,
Love?
but always rooted in tradition.
Okay.
Yeah. The yoga that we teach, the
Okay.
yoga that we practice, it's rooted in tradition.
Okay, so if they want to know more about Monica and Marvin and the lovely little girl who's Shandy, where should they go? Facebook, Instagram? Do you have a website? Are you detached? Did you go off the grid completely, Marvin, or you still have some
No,
digital
no.
traces?
No. I still have bills to pay.
Okay.
No, like on Instagram, you can find Monica under mon underscore yoga. Me myself under Nifram Repuk.
Okay.
NIVRAM REPOOC. So
Okay.
my name is Marvin Cooper. You just reversed that, Nifram Repuk.
Okay.
And on Facebook, it's simply Nifram Yoga. So, yeah.
But I think on we created a nice page.
Okay.
Page, yes.
Our names are there.
Our names are there, yeah.
Where do they find them in less confusing words?
Just visit our page, Love Yoga World. Yeah. And
Okay, and you can find both of these.
yes, correct.
You
Yeah.
guys
Or
had
message me.
message you.
Yeah,
of
message
course,
me.
yeah. I know you guys have to run somewhere. Shandy is getting a little anxious. We're practicing some sort of yoga here right now, right? We're trying to practice patience, right? And but she's such a lovely girl, and she's so woke. Actually, if you think about it, I mean, like 8 months old, right? And she hasn't cried a tear in this entire whole interview. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you. It is always a pleasure to talk to you, Mary Love, and nice to finally meet you guys. I've heard so much about you. We've been talking about you on the radio for the past few weeks. I'm glad that you finally made it here to these beautiful islands of the Philippines. I hope you'll have a great experience here in Cebu, and I hope you keep on coming back here, sir and ma'am. Thank you so much. Monica and Marvin.
Please join us on Sunday.
Yes, of course. Don't
We're
forget.
inviting everyone. Yeah.
Don't forget, it's September 15 at Soulscape. It's happening at the El Curso Philinvest. If you want to know more about them, please go to the official Facebook page at El Curso Philinvest Live Malls
And Love Yoga World.
and find out how you can sign up for this September 15 Sunday. Starts bright and early at 7 a.m. until 7 p.m. It's a whole day's event of yoga teachings, yoga learnings, and there's also the food part, right?
Yes.
You're gonna have
We have some vendors selling food,
Okay.
vegetarian, healthy food.
healthily curated by Hansky and George, right? And Mary Love
Hi,
and
Hansky. Hi, George.
Monica
Yeah.
and Marvin.
One last thing.
Go
if
ahead.
you guys are like suffering anxiety and having problems overcoming fear, talk to me. I can help you.
Okay.
Yeah, help you with.
Okay,
yes,
guys.
yoga.
So if you're one of those that
Yes.
are caught in the rat race,
Yes,
maybe you can look for Mary Love
Yes.
on September 15 and find out
Yes.
how she can help improve your situation
Yes.
in terms of dealing with your
yes.
and coping
live
with
a
your
better life.
anxiety and your stress. Thank you so
Yes,
much, Mary
yes,
Love,
yes.
Monica, and Marvin. Thank you, Shanty.
Thank you for having
Thank you so much for watching the Pilosopo podcast. I'll catch you again in the next episode. Thank you, Dessert Factory, for the dessert and the Italian coffee. Thank you, Kenneth, for the delicious dessert. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Bye. See you on Sunday.
See you all.